Mandalorianos e Mandalorianas, estamos diretamente do Rancho Obi-Wan, a maior coleção de Star Wars do mundo, uma entrevista exclusiva com Steve Sansweet, que é o fundador do Rancho Obi-Wan, amigo pessoal do George Lucas e foi por muitos anos o manager de Fan Relations da Lucasfilm. Então deixa o like, deixa o hype e bora curtir esse bate-papo que vai ser muito, muito especial.
Steve, thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure to come here and to do the tour with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure, Matt. Were you speaking Portuguese or Mandalorian?
A little bit of both.
Oh, okay.
So, Steve, we just walked through the tour, and I was very curious about, since you had your first item, and how was the turning point for you to say, okay, I have my personal collection. I might have to make it a museum out of it.
Well, I worked for Lucasfilm for 16 years, off and on, 15 years solid, and then another year in 2017. And I have been collecting this stuff. This was my warehouse. I would give friends and fellow fans tours sometimes when I could. But as I knew a year in advance that I would be leaving Lucasfilm, my friend Ann Newman, who is now president and chief executive officer of Rancho Obi-Wan, suggested that perhaps we could turn it into a nonprofit and actually do tours. So we started on that road. In 2010, we opened up the back barn, turned it into another part of the museum, and late 2011 we had our grand opening party and then went ahead and opened it up as a tourist attraction. We do tours on Saturdays only these days, and they are booked in advance on ranchoobiwan.org. It was a real change to invite people from the outside that I didn't know in here, but it helped support the collection.
And obviously you worked at the Wall Street Journal, as you said earlier, and then you went to work at Lucasfilm. And I was wondering, how was your first contact with Star Wars when you were working in the Wall Street, and your first reaction watching the movie was love at first sight? And how was that feeling that started it all?
I grew up reading a lot of science fiction, and it was the dawn of the space age, and rockets and satellites were being launched as I was growing up. So I was fascinated by all of that. And a marketing brochure was sent out by Lucasfilm and 20th Century Fox early in 1977 on Star Wars. And I rescued it from a trash can at the Wall Street Journal that went to the reporter who covered the movie business. And it was all color photos, and it just seemed amazing. And I had heard something about Star Wars in the media. There was a little buzz. And then I was invited along with a lot of reporters in Los Angeles to the first screening on the back lot of 20th Century Fox 10 days before it opened to the public, and was blown away. I remember we were all sitting there in the theater, and we were tricked by George to look up at the ceiling to see the Star Destroyer pass by.
Oh my
And
God.
I was speechless after the movie was over. I just loved it so much.
That's awesome. We're obviously from Brazil, and the three of us, we grew up with the prequels. So we didn't get to experience the original trilogy on the theaters. And I always wonder about it, how it was to experience one of the most iconic and legendary trilogies here in the USA and in theaters.
It was amazing. It started with people lining up when the movie opened, and people, the media, the newspapers and the magazines and the TV reporters were all wondering, how did people know about this movie? And that's because Lucasfilm had gone out a year in advance and talked to the fans about Star Wars and showed them slides and some clips, and people just heard word of mouth. So everybody was very excited, and that continued for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And that's why when the prequels came out, we had people waiting in line for weeks in advance of Episode 1 outside theaters all over the United States, because that excitement was there. After 16 years, Star Wars was coming back.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. Obviously, Star Wars is a huge franchise and a huge brand, and one of the most ancient ones in pop culture. And one of the things that makes Star Wars so special is that it's generational. So we had the original trilogy, then we had the prequels, and years later we had the sequels. And in your vision as a collector, how do you experience a long period with no movies in the theater, and suddenly a whole new universe, a whole new trilogy, a whole new branch of products and merchandising. How do you navigate through this as a collector?
Well, the period between 1985 and 1995 was very bleak, and so there was very little new merchandise. There was a pewter chess set that you could get 2 pieces every other month, but it was also a time where people were getting out of Star Wars collecting. And in the late 1980s, there were 3 major collections that came up for sale, and I bought chunks of all 3 of those collections. It started my major poster collection, which is now up to several thousand posters, and some other fan-made objects, which I really love. That's one of my specialties, is art and fan-made items. So you get used to that on and off again, but since 1995 it's been straight through. Some years more than others, but a lot of product out there. And then Disney, of course, took over in 2012, so by the following year there was lots of items, a lot of items from the parks that are exclusive, a lot of items exclusive to D23. So there's a ton of merchandise worldwide, and you have to be very selective. You buy what you like. People always say, how do I start? Well, focus on a collection. Like, we love BB-8, so we've got a ton of BB-8 items. Buy what you like and what you can afford. Don't miss your rent payment.
Oh, okay, that's very important. And since you touched on the subject, we saw the great altar to BB-8. What would you say is the character that has more items in your collection?
I think probably BB-8 and Grogu are 2 of the bigger categories, but there's always Darth Vader. I mean, for the most part, the most action figures, when we did our most recent action figure guide book a couple of years ago, the most figures I thought would be somebody who changed costumes throughout the trilogies, but it was Darth Vader. There were some 90 figures up to that point.
Oh my God.
Of Darth Vader, 90-some figures. How could there be 90 different figures of Darth Vader? Well, there were 3 different figures with different parts of his mask and helmet that came off. So one, the top came off. One, this section came off. One, it all came off. It's just like, there was a red one for Christmas, which everybody hated. There were silver ones. There were gold ones. Just like Darth Vader. You never think there could be 90 plus figures.
From the age of Lucasfilm and this new age of Disney, do you think that the licensing and the products have changed a lot from one era to the other?
There's a lot more in the way of electronics and 3-dimensional replicas. Regal Robot, one of the licensees, has done amazing work scanning 3D maquettes from the archives and releasing them to the public in limited editions. They've done the chess table creatures. They've done lots of wonderful products. So I like that kind of thing, that people are getting into it. In Disney parks are selling at the Galaxy's Edge, they're selling pieces that look like they were made to play with in fantasy, which is very cool. So there's been that kind of change, a lot more electronics, as I said, that go into some of the things. Build your own lightsaber. There's some great pieces.
Yeah, we got the privilege to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and we built our own lightsaber, and the experience of it all, the lore and stuff, is very, very touching.
That ceremony that you have is amazing when you build your own lightsaber, and then everything lights up at once. It's just fantastic.
Another thing that I would like to ask is, you commented that one of your favorite items here are fan-made from other countries, and that's something that I really enjoyed seeing here. A lot of pieces from Mexico, from Europe, and to see how Star Wars evolved and is seen by other cultures. So what do you like the most about this?
Well, I think one of the main things, and one of the reasons Star Wars has remained so popular for nearly 50 years, is the fact that George Lucas and Lucasfilm let fans play in George's sandbox, whereas other licenses, people went after them with lawyers and ceased and desist and sued people. Lucasfilm, for the most part, did not do that, and that has let people take part in the whole Star Wars mythos. And I love what fellow fans bring to Star Wars, and they're all different expressions of Star Wars, through writing, through art, through 3-dimensional objects. My friend Marco Granadino in Peru has made some wonderful pieces for me. Some huacos, which are old antique cups made indigenously in Peru. For my recent birthday, the directors of Rancho Obi-Wan chipped in and bought me some Native American art, decorating a Darth Vader helmet, a BB-8, and a Lola droid. So I love things like that. So you mix popular culture and personal culture along with the great Star Wars culture.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Since you commented that, and we knew this because I watched the tour and I heard you say that, I said, we gotta get Steve a piece of Brazil. And this year we had JediCon. It's like a convention in Brazil. It's put together by our friends, the Conselho Jedi Paraná. The Jedi Council is like fan club. We did this in Paraná, which is a state in Brazil in the south. And there's the capybaras, which are very local. And there were fans that made a huge capybara Darth Vader mashup, and we called the Cappy Vader. So it's like a huge capybara dressed as Darth Vader, and that became the mascot of the event. So the posters and the coins and everything had the capybara, and we would very much like to present you with a kit from Brazil.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's the kit from the event from JediCon Paraná, and there you'll find a little bit of Cappy Vader.
Who did the wrapping?
Oh, someone from the Jedi,
A friend of mine, yeah.
the council. That's Cappy Vader. The event was in a football stadium, so it was very nice.
This is great. How big are these creatures usually?
Oh, they're big.
Like this, the size of a small dog.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen a capybara?
No.
Animal?
Oh, this is this is great.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And this is the T-shirt.
That's the T-shirt,
It's the same.
the same art.
Same art.
And I believe there's a pin and also a coin, I guess.
Oh, this is great. The Jedi Council Paraná. This is super. Thank you very much.
No, thank
to
you,
the
thank
Jedi
you.
Council. How do you spell the name of the animal?
CAPBRA.
Why?
P-A-R.
Capybara.
Capybara.
Capybara. This is a.
Oh, it looks cute. It looks like
It's cute. It's
chipmunk.
cute.
Yeah, it's a rodent actually, but it stay on the rivers and it's very cute.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Oh no, thank you. So to finish things up, I just really wanted to say, as a Star Wars fan from Brazil, it's very nice to have a place like this that people from around the world can come here and get starstruck from everything. But most of all, to see the spark in your eyes when you're telling all these stories. I guess this is like the 1,000th time you do this tour, but for us it feels like it's the first time you're doing it. So it's very nice to, as a Star Wars fan, see another Star Wars fan doing such a nice
Thank
work.
you very much. And people can go to ranchoobiwan.org and book tickets in advance. We usually sell out 6 to 8 weeks in advance. So if you're planning a trip, I urge you to do that. We get people from all over the world, and it's great. It's great fun having people come in from other countries.
Nice, nice. Então é isso, pessoal. Ó, se você é fã de Star Wars, tá vindo para os Estados Unidos, principalmente aqui para Califórnia, para São Francisco, ou até mesmo Los Angeles. A gente veio de carro de Los Angeles para cá e, cara, vale a pena cada segundo, assim, que você estiver aqui. Vocês vão gostar muito. So, Steve, thank you so very much, and may the Force be with you.
And with you, man.
And if you have any message to Brazil, now is the time.
To all my friends in Brazil, may the Force be with you always.